Tahoe, Nevada. Never been there, but spent my share of time in Las Vegas, Nevada. All right, folks, tax day may have passed, but for millions of Americans, the real trouble is just beginning. If you missed the April 15th deadline or still owe back taxes, the IRS is ramping up enforcement every day. You wait only makes things worse for you with over 5,000 new tax liens filed daily and tools like property seizures, bank levies, and wage garnishments. The IRS is applying pressure at every level, levels we haven't seen in years, in fact. Increased administrative scrutiny means collections are moving fast. The good news? There's still time for Tax Network USA to help self-employed or a business owner. Even if your books are a mess, Tax Network USA specializes in cleaning up financial chaos and getting you back on track. Fast, your consultation is completely free. And acting now could stop penalties, threatening letters, and even surprise levies before they escalate. Call 1-800-905-8000 or visit tnusa.com/RAV. You may have missed April 15th, but you haven't run out of options yet. Let Tax Network USA help before the IRS makes the next move. All right, yesterday, I had the opportunity to speak with the doctor who's called America's psychiatrist, Dr. Carol Lieberman. She joined us to discuss the passing of the Pope and said that it was not Vice President J.D. Vance's fault, like we had to say that, but this is a fascinating interview. Watch. Incredible that we have to clarify that some folks out there are like trying to blame J.D. Vance because he was the last foreign dignitary, certainly to spend some time with the Pope before he passed. Talk to us about that.
Yes, there are some amazing memes, really kind of cruel, blaming J.D. Vance for the Pope's passing. Now, the Pope, in my opinion, the Pope passed because first of all, he had been very sick. He was sick with respiratory problems, and he passed ultimately because of a stroke. But the reason why I think that the Pope knew that his end was near, first of all. And so he became particularly active against doctors' advice after he was released from the hospital, doing all kinds of things, including, as you're showing here, giving a blessing at Easter and so on. And even further, he went down into the crowds at Easter, in a carriage, open carriage, risking infection, risking, just the stress of it, being carried around in a carriage through all these crowds. But I think that he was trying to do God's work, as much of God's work as possible, for as much time as he had left. Now, it's interesting, though. You know how people, when they often, like if they're in the hospital and they're not they're sort of in a terminal state, they will hold on until a relative comes. It's always kind of amazing. They hold on until something special. Like you could say he held on until Easter, or you could say he held on until J.D. Vance came and greeted him. So it is ridiculous, and it's dangerous to start blaming politicians for people's death. It's weaponizing grief, and it can become a dangerous trend.
Weaponizing grief, interesting. So what Carol's referring to, folks, is that there are memes out there. Horrible people are saying, "Oh, J.D. Vance is the Antichrist because he met the Pope and the Pope died." It's just absolutely insane. Here's the question, though. Democrats seem to be, and I don't know which side of the aisle you fall on, it doesn't matter, put your doctor hat on. Democrats seem to use these, to weaponize events more than Republicans, more than conservatives. And I will just tell you, as we speak right now, there's a group of Democrats who are liberals who are destroying a Tesla dealership in New York City. So does this fall on political lines, one way harder on one side than the other?
Well, first of all, yes, I can be a psychiatrist, but I'm also a Trumper all the way. So, in fact, I'm weaponizing. I'm writing a diagnostic description for Trump derangement syndrome. But anyway, getting back to your question.
Well, to be honest with you, that was my follow-up question. I wanted to know if Trump derangement syndrome is real and if we can diagnose and how to treat it. But go ahead. Sorry I interrupted.
Sure. No, it's okay. Yes, it is very real. I mean, just what you said. They look for things. I mean, the point is that the left Democrats, the leftist Democrats, are particularly angry and particularly on the lookout for anything that they can use and twist in the opposite direction to blame Trump or blame Republicans. So this really fell into such a with J.D. Vance visiting the Pope and the Pope dying right afterwards, was like perfect for them to use to say that, how bad Trump. Trump derangement syndrome isn't just about, well, I define it as an irrational, quasi-psychotic hatred of anything Trump, resulting in rage and over-the-top efforts to destroy him and his work. But that also goes for his friends, his people he put in various positions. So, we have Elon Musk and the Teslas, and we have now J.D. Vance.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that the Democrats, on the other side, the people with Trump derangement syndrome, well, almost doesn't matter the issue. Some things are 50-50. Other things are 90-10. And I will submit that deporting an MS-13 member whose wife wanted him thrown in jail, who came here illegally, would be a 90-10. I think 90% of the population would not want to live next to that criminal or that thing. Yet the Democrats are taking their side. They're flying to El Salvador to try and bring that guy back to the country against all rationale thinking and all logic. Is that part of Trump derangement?
Yes, the quasi-psychotic hatred. Yes, I mean, and being photographed, having drinks that look like alcohol. I mean, people. I don't know. People have, in so many different ways, people have just lost their common sense and are outrageous. I mean, look at, this isn't exactly Trump derangement syndrome, although he probably has it too, but Putin, who just took the Taliban off the terrorist list. I mean, you just have to scratch your head and say, what are these people thinking? So yes, it is very bad. And I kind of feel bad for J.D. Vance because, first of all, he's still kind of new to all of this. And he converted as an adult to Catholicism. So clearly this must be very painful for him.
Yeah. How is, Trump handling, so he gets this mandate. He gets the American people behind him. He gets the majority of a popular vote, which is very unusual for a Republican to do. You can still win the presidency without the majority of the popular vote based on electoral college. So he gets the electoral college. He gets the swing states. He gets the majority of the popular opinion. He's got this massive mandate. But with this power comes responsibility as a psychiatrist. Is he managing that power effectively?
Well, so far it seems like he is. But it's like every day there's something new against him. You kind of wonder just how much strength does he have to keep on going? But I think he has a lot. I'm not really worried about it yet. I mean, the strength of the mettle of the man for him was revealed in Butler, Pennsylvania, when he got up after not knowing whether he was critically injured or not, and he went fight, and because he wasn't talking. He was trying to tell the American. He wasn't thinking of himself. He was trying to tell the American people, even if I'm gone, if I die, you keep fighting for America. And so that just says it all. But it is very unfortunate that there are so many, whether it's the immigration or the trying to get rid of the protesters in schools, which is something that has to be gotten rid of ASAP. All of these things that he's doing that the people voted him in to do. He's just getting pushback, and he's not going to give up. I mean,
that's his strength. When they push him, that fuels his power, his fight. And I will tell you something. For those, I've known Trump for 40 years. People say, they all say they do. I really have legitimately known him 40 years. And I know one of the knocks was he wasn't always as conservative. He wasn't always MAGA. He wasn't always about America. When Butler, Pennsylvania happened, there's nothing you can be taught or told to react that way. It was instinctual. It came from a place inside him. So all those people who say he's just doing it for the power, the love of power and the control, BS, because that man cared to stand up with snipers, could have been multiple. He didn't know, and he pushed Secret Service away and said, fight, 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 because he truly believed he was best for the country. Carol, I got to go. Appreciate you having you, and we'll bring you back again sometime soon. Carol, Dr. Carol Lieberman, thank you.
You're welcome.
Folks, we'll be back in 2.5 minutes.